This is really one of the only thing that's left to begin with, which is why people are so concerned about this Louisiana case, because they've basically made it so that states with a long history of discrimination no longer have to approve their voting changes with the federal government. They've made it so that when states pass new restrictions on voting, they're very, very difficult to strike those down under how the Supreme Court has ruled. They've made it so that you can't strike down partisan gerrymandering. So if a state basically just says, yeah, I wrote a totally unfair map, but I just did it for partisan reasons, they've said that's okay, which is
Oh, so it
totally
was
at
for the
odds.
partisan
Yeah,
gerrymandering, but not for racial gerrymandering. And
exactly.
now they
So
want to get
racial
rid of that.
gerrymandering is really one of the only parts of the Voting Rights Act that still has teeth. Now, you're right, they have narrowed it in a number of different contexts, but still recently in the Alabama case from 2023, when they said that under the Voting Rights Act, Alabama had to draw a second majority Black district, that was a good move for voting rights that was at odds with all the other opinions by the court when it came to this issue. And that's why it was sort of shocking. It was shocking to see it written by Chief Justice John Roberts, who wrote that 2013 opinion gutting the Voting Rights Act. It was even more shocking to see Brett Kavanaugh sign on to it. And now I think some of those people may be having second thoughts. And again, the problem here is that to get to 5, right, you have to have 2 of the 6 conservatives sign on to something, which just means that there's so little room for any kind of common sense to prevail here, that these are people who are put on the court because they oppose things in the past, like the Voting Rights Act. So counting them to do the right thing in this context is a very, very hard and a very, very precarious position for vulnerable and historically disenfranchised communities to be in.